dementia residents and dementia units don't choose to be there. They don't choose to live there. They don't choose to be with the people that they're living with. But those that are settled and supported can and do make friends, and they're very supportive and positive towards each other. They haven't chosen these friends, but the people they're living with day to day are there, and they make friends with them, and they do the best that they can to make the best of the situation. Women and men in dementia units make friends in very different ways. Women tend to become part of the small group of generalised exchange at the daily activities, which happen all throughout the day. So they happily sit by each other from morning till night with all the activities of newspaper readings, exercises and workshops, and chat to each other, camaraderie, cups of tea, happy conversation. And for them, that's their way of communicating in a friendly manner. Now, in particular, some women do make friends, good friends, best friends if you like, but it's very much the minority. And the minority that do make best friends that I've witnessed and observed in dementia units are school teachers, interestingly enough. By far the biggest percentage of people that make good friends are school teachers. And I think it's because the activities that are set up, it's very much like a classroom, and these school teachers, now friends, treat it as such. They're very, very relaxed in it. They arrive at 9 o'clock and leave at 5 o'clock, all day in the classroom, happily having cups of tea, doing quizzes, workshops, looking at movies. It's just like the classroom to them. Now, the fortunate thing about this, if you're a diversional therapist or an activities coordinator, if you have a teacher in a group who's made good friends with another teacher, generally they'll sit at the front. It's fantastic because they actually do half the work for you. They're assertive, they're inclusive, just like they are of children in the classroom, and they'll often call out, it's good to read, why aren't you reading? Listen to the teacher, make more of an effort, the assertive school teachers. And so they buoy up the group. And if someone's, nodding off, they'll dig them in the ribs, or if they can see that someone's not making an effort, they ask them to try harder. And they're usually pretty spot on with what they're saying as well. I mean, they don't ask someone to try harder if they're already trying hard. And they don't ask a very shy person who's just come into the group to speak up when it's taken all their courage just to get there. But, dementia residents are actually very good at spotting whether people are making effort or not. And they just seem to intuitively understand the capacity, both physical, social, and intellectual, mental, of people and sum them up quite quickly. I think because, they've been through all the rigours themselves of all dementia stress, etc. And they can see if someone's sitting there and, quite disabled, they're not speaking well, but they're making an effort, they're paying attention with their eye contact, they're smiling, they're contributing in that sense, they will be supported. But if someone's just sitting back, rolling their eyes and not contributing and making sarcastic comments, they'll be asked to exit pretty quickly. They don't want sarcasm, they don't want negativity, and they say that this group has to be positive. We don't want any negativity here. And if a man or woman, anyone, is sarcastic or negative, they'll just boot them out and just say, we don't want you here. This group has to be positive. So that was great because it created a really positive atmosphere and helped all around with the workshops and the atmosphere in the unit. It just really worked so well. Now, in terms of females making best friends, men, I don't know if I've ever seen a man make a best friend with another man in a dementia unit that I can think of, but women, school teachers especially, definitely, they will come to the workshop. Now, other women do make best friends with each other. I've witnessed that, but the women I've known that have done that haven't always come to the workshop. One particular pair of friends one woman would come to the workshop and sit in the second row back by the window seat, look and listen when her other friend wasn't there. And she was positive then, when not influenced by her friend, who became quite negative and scathing, unfortunately, for various reasons I'll explain. But this friend that used to sit at the window seat, second row or back row, observing the workshops, was very attentive, and she'd say, "It's doing them good, isn't it? I can see them thinking." So she thought it was very important for other people to think with her thinking in the process, but didn't acknowledge that she was getting any thinking capacity from the workshop, but it all worked out. But when her friend came along, who was a lovely woman actually, but her daughter had supported her hugely, daily going to coffees at lovely cafes for, months on end when she was well. So the woman got quite a privileged life. For a dementia unit, that's huge privilege, going out each day to a cafe each morning. People don't get out for months, most of them. And she never really made any other friends at the unit. She relied on her daughter, except this one woman. Then unfortunately, her daughter became very unwell. That support system was cut, and she was just left in the dementia unit then, pretty much without any other friends and family visiting. And she got really down about it and became quite negative about it and scathing because she hadn't joined in with the group. She didn't want to go to activities. She didn't want to join in anything at all. She only had this one friend who she, dominated really, sort of overload, of negative overload. And this other poor woman tended to get quite down about it. But without this woman's influence, she was quite bright. So it, of course, depends, coloured by company and all that, who your friends are as to what the influence they're going to have on you. So it's a good thing if you can make a positive friend in a dementia unit, and especially a friend that is inclusive. They are the best friends, and the school teachers tended to be. They'd have a one best friend sitting by them, then they'd just be inclusive to the whole group at the activities. Group friendship, platonic group friendship at its best. It worked really well because all the people in the group, they didn't have a special best friend, but they had the group friendship. So all day they were exposed to warmth, laughter, smiles, inclusiveness, friendship, and positive quality activities to get their cognition going and get themselves back and build themselves back to a positive, more cognitive space where they could at least think and enjoy the activities that were going on. So this is the difference, between men and women. Men, I've said about in the other video, but females, it's definitely this generalized group exchange, sitting together, talking to each other over a cup of tea being a big deal, by the way. Morning and afternoon tea, biscuit, cake, cup of tea with the ladies, many having belonged to ladies groups of one way, shape or form, women's league, farmers, women's groups, etc., all their life. So sitting in a nice little group of ladies, having a nice cup of tea served with delicious cake, looking out the window on a sunny day, having these interesting activities, no trouble, not at all. In fact, they really, if you ask them at that point, when they're having a cup of tea with the friends sitting in the sun, I asked them one day what was their happiness level. And of the 10 in the group, the average was 6.8 out of 10 for all of them. Practically 7 out of 10 happiness when they're in that space. So that's how they can enjoy being in a dementia unit when everything's set up nicely and they can have good, interesting activities and create friendship along with a cup of tea and a cake, which too many cakes sometimes. But anyway, Residents' Voice and Residents' Rise I've written, both from a dementia unit on Amazon and my website below. And thank you for your support, comments, and please subscribe.